You're listening to Passing Time, a Detroit Lions podcast. We're one pride and all grit, with a passion for Detroit Lions football. Whether you're between meetings, between classes, sitting in traffic, or just relaxing at home, if you have time to pass, pass it with Passing Time. Detroit Lions Talk.
Welcome back off a short week and a little bit of a heart attack game.
Yeah. My blood pressure's high and stress level's there. So, yep.
And we're on the clock, and you're passing time with us. A Detroit Lions podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Brian.
And we're going to bring it to you this week. We are recording this on Tuesday. This is the first time on a Tuesday in a very long time, Brian.
Yes. Yeah, we got to get this thing out. So
you'll
Thursday game's coming quick.
You'll probably be seeing this on Wednesday if Brian's on his game,
see.
our chief editor and staff. If you're listening to on Spotify, on Apple Music, we will have this out probably Wednesday morning as you're driving to work if you are working. Yeah. So, interesting week this week. It kind of felt like the Lions were escaping, this overtime game. It felt a little bit like you had a pop quiz. You weren't quite ready for it, and you're the smartest kid in class, but you were struggling, and you were failing this pop quiz. But at the end, they gave you an extra credit question, and you went back to the old memory bank, and you aced that extra credit to kind of get the passing grade.
Yeah. It seemed like it. It looked like the Lions were a little unprepared to roll into there, and made it out at least on top. So a win's a win in the NFL, and I'll take it.
When you look back at the schedule and the records, it doesn't matter how you got there as long as you got there, right? And we'll talk about that with the Packers because we're going to analyze some of their ugly wins as well.
Yeah.
But hey, let's start off quickly with a couple shout outs to some listeners out there.
Yes. Hey, we have one of our biggest fans, Miss Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Send us these awesome little Lions keychains, bottle openers. You know what we got. We appreciate you. Shout out to you. And another one, Henry. You know you. All right, man. I loved watching the game. I watched the game with Henry and his family this past Sunday, and lots of fun. Marty, let's go. And we appreciate you, Henry, for being a Lions fan all the way from Boston.
Stressful game to watch it, and you guys went all the way through. There probably was a couple tough moments. There's probably a couple extra beer orders, a couple hugs at the end of the game.
It was celebratory, and it was knuckles. It was getting after it, and all the way through that game, the pulse was high. So it was a struggle.
Yeah. So one quick story, Brian. Just tell the listeners a little bit about Miss Elizabeth's. Tell us about her dad a little bit, because I think that was a cool story, what you told me.
Yeah, her dad passed away just this past year. Amazing man, part of the Holy Trinity family, which is the church we go to. And the guy started off the HT softball program and made it, all the way up into his last years, continuing to play. The guy was a testament. It was a guy that we followed. We loved Merlin. And if you're watching this and you know Merlin, shout us out. Him and his wooden bat still, making hits and getting on base and then refusing that runner, all the way to the end. So it was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. And we appreciate you taking time out of your day to send us a gift is awesome. So imagine if more people were like Miss Elizabeth, take time out of your day to just write a simple little comment or hit the like or the subscribe button. You know who you are. If you're watching the show, just give us a little bit of love.
Give us some love. We appreciate you. We want to continue this, and we want to make it worth our while. So
absolutely. So I was trying to think as we get into this, how to quantify the Lions' start this year. And I kind of feel like the Lions season so far has been like you're on this road trip, you're on this journey, and you got this GPS, right? And sometimes you hit these patches where the GPS is recalculating, and it causes a few wrong turns. Mainly the Vikings game was the big wrong turn, right? And maybe take a U-turn when possible moment, and that might have been the Giants game where we had to do a U-turn, but we're on this journey, and we are still in the driver's seat. And every road is going to still come through Detroit.
And we have to make sure that, though, here moving forward, the GPS has got to be right. We got to make sure we're not making wrong turns along this way, because the margin for error is going to get smaller and smaller the closer we get to our destination.
So maybe we're moving into the bigger city where our GPS has got a better signal, and we can make sure that we're kind of calculating the road. And we are going to Motown, and we're going to Motown on Thanksgiving, Brian.
And there's traditions filled in Motown on Thanksgiving, and it's going to be the Lions versus the Pack, and it's just it's exciting. That's a fun game. We're going to be wearing our throwbacks. We're going to be wearing the full silver helmets and looking sharp. It just brings me back to all of those Thanksgiving days of my grandparents having turkey dinner, sitting back, comatose after having too much to eat, and then enjoying the Lions.
So it's a tradition like none other. And honestly, the tradition, when I feel like a Thanksgiving game, I feel like the Lions-Packers is the most traditional of all the games. And Brian's kind of recorded some data on that a little bit.
The 23rd meeting of the Lions and the Packers on Thanksgiving. And so far, the record is in the Lions' favor.
Okay.
So we'll take it. 12-9-1. And let's go Lions. Let's make it 13.
Yeah. Here we go. So they're going to wear the throwbacks. Reminds me of, Brett Perriman, Herman Moore, Johnny Morton, Barry Sanders, Scott, just what we grew up with.
Yep.
And I just love to see the guys. And, the new age NFL, they're wearing, the Lions are wearing a different kit, every single week, right? Different helmets and different colors. And I like the blacks last week with the blue helmet.
It's tough. It's a tough look. The blue helmets are sharp, and but getting back to this tradition from Thanksgiving, it's gonna be fun.
It's still that same old big old turkey leg at the end of the game,
That turduncan at the end, right?
Yeah. So storylines this week. Lions are putting up 30 points a game. Fourth best in the NFL, Brian.
Still, hey, they're still putting up those points. It sometimes looks clunky along the way. They may be hitting those U-turns, in the middle of the game, but they're still able to be a high functioning offense. We got to get it together.
Yeah. Red zone, end zone.
Right. Right now when you reach the end zone, 66.67% of the time they're going to score. So
carry the one on that?
Yeah,
or no?
you just with a couple threes after that. So
oh man. The Lions are at their best when they're using play action, and when they're using play action well.
Yeah, and that is established by the running game. So we have to get that running game moving early. Goff using that play action, and then knowing where his guys are going to be on the field. Being in sync with the Amon Ras, being in sync with his JMOs, trying to continue to gain some understanding of each other with Tesla. Losing Sam Laporta is big, and he's going to have to find something with Brock Wright if Brock Wright is able to play. So
yeah, or other guys can step up. You can change the offense a little bit where you're less of an F-150 and you're more of a Corvette with JMO crossing routes and Khalif Raymond. Shout out to Khalif. They have the tools there to change the offense without Laporta, without Brock Wright, which we're not calling that a big without.
No, I agree. I think that the Sam Laporta was the safety valve. It kind of was his binky, if you will, And so if you're comfortable with that, he's gonna check it down to Sam Laporta and get some yak after the catch. So it's one of those things that's going to be a loss, but yes, we're still trying to, in week 13, find ourselves.
Yeah.
Who are the Lions? Are they the same team in 2024 as they are now in 2025? The answer is no, but it can still have glimmers of greatness, and we just got to find the consistency of that, find what works. Rely on that. Just let's really dig into the defense. Let's really dig into, those crossing routes with JMO. Let's really dig into, that connection between Amon Ra and Jared Goff. And in saying that, let's really dig into some Jahmyr Gibbs and just continue to feed him. That man's a monster.
Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs should start popping up on some MVP lists here, but he's not. He's not a shiny quarterback. But when you mentioned Binky,
I gotta use an analogy, and you're gonna. I love it. All right, he's gonna dive into this. Here we go.
I'm gonna drop back a little bit. If you're an avid follower, avid listener, you might have watched a little Small Talk, a podcast that our kids put out, and I have a 4-week-old girl, Quinn, only girl out of the 6 of our kids.
That's true.
So who was not pictured in that podcast was Brian's oldest, an 8th grader, and a 4-week-old baby.
Too cool for school there.
But we had a 3-year-old, a couple 7-year-olds, and a 9-year-old, 10-year-old in that podcast. Check it out. It just tells you that, like, this is at their age, the innocence and the passion. That's where it starts, and those kids are unbelievably passionate. They're watching games. They're getting emotional. Sometimes they don't even know why they're getting emotional. Maybe they just see Brian getting emotional or me getting emotional. But pretty cool to see. And you can kind of see the fruits of our loins out there, just as passionate as we are. And, personally, it was a really, really cute moment.
It was. And it's funny because you can definitely see the Rob kids, and you can definitely see the Brian kids, and they definitely are pieces of us, right? And we love to see that. So.
Yeah, it was great. It was self-serving for us on our end, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, I think it's like there's a short that's 3 minutes long, and there's the full episode's 5 minutes long. The full episode's got more comedy involved in it, so give it a chance, check it out. But hey, going back to the Packers, I want to talk a little bit about the Packers and their schedule so far this year. And I want to point out that they are a pretty vulnerable team. So we're going to go through their schedule so far, and then we're going to kind of go into what their schedule is after they play the Lions. So week 1, Brian, the Packers obviously played the Lions. They won 27-13, and it was a pretty much like, they handled the Lions.
Yep, it was rough. It's not what we expected to come out, being the Lions of 2024 and figuring out again that we're not that same team. We got to figure out who we are. So
no preseason on the road. You can bake in some good excuses there.
Yep.
Then they beat the Commanders 27-18. At this point, I think we're sitting with the Talking Grit guys after this game, and basically, who was it, like Dennis? Who was the old Vikings coach? Dennis Smith. You want to crown him? Crown him! And they're just like, yeah, the Packers are elite, and they're putting them up in the, and the big win against the Lions and Commanders, who beat the Lions deep in the playoffs, is like, whoa, they seem legit. Week 3, Brian, lost to the Joe Flacco Browns.
Yeah, yep, and. Yeah, it looked a little silly after that, right? Because I was one of those folks that was crowning them.
Yeah, you were crowning them. Yeah, you go back on record on that. And I was not crowning them. I'm a Packer hater till I die. So then they play the Cowboys, and they kissed their sister.
Tie, 40-40.
Yep. So gave up a lot of points. And one thing you notice with the Packers is they're feast or famine on defense, man. They're stingy, or they're giving up a lot of points. So 40-40 against the Cowboys. And then they play the Joe Flacco Bengals.
Yeah, got their revenge.
But they had to scratch out that win.
They did.
Kind of pulled away late to beat them 27-18.
Yep.
Then they played the Arizona Cardinals.
Squeaked that one out too.
Had to kind of pull it off late. Then they played the Steelers, who look like they're less than a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to have a winning record, but just be outside looking in. So.
Yeah. And that was a hard-fought game. Then they play the Carolina Panthers, Brian.
Yeah, and threw up another stinker and did not come out, ahead of that one. They lost to the Panthers in that game. So,
imagine this podcast after losing to the Panthers. Okay.
Okay. I mean, right. we would know where Bill is. We'd have to find him at the bottom of the Detroit River at that point. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we almost tasted that after the Giants game. But Eagles, they took a home loss. We lost to the Eagles on the road.
Yeah.
They took a 1:00 home loss. Eagles 7-10.
Yep, another tight one, but another loss. So
Then they played the Giants, Brian. They were trailing the Giants with about 4.5 minutes to play that game.
Yep, and ended up pulling that one out. Again, another one of those Giants, like, hey, here, I'm just going to give you this.
Yeah.
And took home the victory there. So
okay.
But barely.
And then they play the Vikings, who Brian pointed out, if J.J. McCarthy would have spiked the ball on every possession, he would have had a better QBR than whatever he did during that game.
Oh, man. But, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be okay. Things are going to be fine for you.
I'm still a JJ guy. But, yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah.
I'm not like a JJ going to the Hall of Fame kind of guy. But so here we are. That's the past history. They got the Lions this week. They play the Bears after this week twice in 3 weeks. So they got the Bears away at the Broncos, away at the Bears, got the Ravens, and then away at the Vikings.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing here is a team, if I say they split the Bears games and they split the Broncos Ravens games, they're 10-6-1.
And that puts, I guess that puts the Lions in a pretty good spot, if we take care of our business. And it's going to take us taking care of our business in order to continue to move forward. But like it starts with Thanksgiving, and we'll see where we continue to roll. So, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week where the Lions' next 3 games are probably going to be the most important 3 games. And we started us off a little shaky, but we came out with that victory. So, like, a win's a win in the NFL. You're going to continue to hear me say that. I'm not necessarily happy the way it happened, but I'm going to be happy with the result. So,
what's funny is when I was listening to our kids talk, and they were saying, this is going to be a tough game against the Giants. And I'm kind of laughing in the background, like, I don't think it should be a tough game. And the kids were more right than what we were going into last week. So if I got the Packers at 10-6-1, that means I have the Lions beating the Packers. And really, this is such a pivotal game because if that happens, really the Lions just got to win 3 more games after this week. And that gets them to a spot where they overtake either the Packers or the Bears, which gets them into the playoffs.
Gets them into the playoffs. And that's where we're at right now. I mean, the division is huge and would be great, but right now the goal is to get in the playoffs. Anything can happen. Let's just get in the playoffs and see where we're at. Let's start playing our best football, and let's see what happens from there.
Yeah, yeah. So, Brian, can you get into a little bit of a deeper dive on where is this Detroit Lions offense struggling?
Oh, you've heard me say I feel like the last couple of weeks is it's the O-line. Right now, it's going to continue to be the O-line. And let's be honest, Detroit Lions fans, we're going to have to accept the fact that this O-line is not the same as it was last year. Frank Ragnow is not coming back. We're not getting Kevin Zeitler off the street anytime soon. We continue to are going to continue to have some struggles in the interior. But we're going to have to scheme some things up. We're going to have to continue to dual block at that first level and be okay with 3 yards, maybe not explosives, even though we saw some explosives. Let's be honest. We saw some explosives this past Sunday. So we're going to have to scheme up where Amon Ra short motions in and takes on as an extra blocker. We're going to have to scheme up where our tight ends are adding that extra hat, or Dan Skipper is that 6th offensive lineman. We're going to have to scheme up some wham blocks where we're pulling and kicking out. And those are things that are going to be a little bit more simplistic, maybe not as technical as what we had with Frank Ragnow, who I feel like with Frank, he did save us a little bit. He made a lot of things that we tried to do better, and he was an athletic freak. He was maybe one of the best centers in the game when he left, and you're not going to replace that overnight. So
yeah, Frank's a big loss, there's no doubt, and Graham's doing his best he can. But he's not. He's
not Frank.
Yeah, he's
right?
not Frank. So. Yeah, so to be frank, he's not Frank.
Yeah, that's right. So we're, as Lions fans, I mean, I've gone through, I feel like, all the stages at this point, and I've reached acceptance that our offense may be what it is based on our offensive line, because I do feel like that I feel like that's the engine that drives the Detroit Lions offense, is that offensive line.
Well said. Yeah. So all that being said, what are a couple things going into this week that excites you? Like what are some points of optimism going into this week against the Packers?
Well, did you watch Jahmyr Gibbs this last week?
That's all I watched.
That excites me.
Yeah.
I mean, if that guy can find those small lanes, he has got such great vision. He's running between the tackles and still popping off 69 yarders. You know, the guy is a freak and running at 22 plus miles an hour. You know, what does he have? Like 3 of the top 5 fastest runs in the NFL right now. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. And you know, I was listening to some things, and they're like, we got to stop and appreciate this, because when I was a kid, you know, I was blessed to be able to watch Barry, right? And just the amazingness that anytime you give that guy the ball, you know, a highlight is about to happen, right? And we're kind of in that same feel right now. I just hope that we can continue to have the culture and the winning pedigree along with just this amazing guy.
When you were a kid, you weren't watching Bart Starr?
Oh, come on. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, Brad and I were talking about it. If you go down the Lions offense and you say, okay, what kind of trajectory is Amon Ra on right now, Brian?
Amon Ra is on a Hall of Fame caliber career. I mean, the guy has going to reach 6,000 yards. He's already surpassed 500 receptions. He's leading wide receivers in touchdowns, you know, within the Lions organization. I mean, the guy is checking all of the boxes that would establish a Hall of Fame career. So,
and if Jahmyr Gibbs can string a few more of these last season and this season's together, what kind of trajectory would that put him on?
I would say a Hall of Fame career. I mean, the guy is already currently 40 some yards away from a 1,000-yard season, you know, rushing. I mean, that's awesome.
He's breaking records for touchdowns for people under 24 years old, right? There's a lot going on there. So, like, if you continue, Jared Goff potentially is on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
And this is where the argument could start happening, because I love
6'7".
Yeah, sure. I love Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff, with the proper O-line, is a great quarterback, maybe even an elite quarterback. But with a good O-line, I think he becomes closer to good quarterback. And so that's where I do feel like he needs the trust in those guys up front in order to stand tall, move around in the pocket, and pick apart, you know, defenses, because he does have accuracy. He does have, you know, he gets us into great plays pre-snap. He knows or has a good relationship and rapport with guys like Amon Ra and Gibbs and Laporta and, you know, all of these folks. But he's got to be able to stand tall and not be fearful of getting hit, so that he doesn't rush his throws and get off kilter. So, and you've seen the last few weeks, he's been off kilter.
Yeah. Are there a couple guys getting healthy enough to maybe excite you on playing this big Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I mean, you got guys like Marcus Davenport, who hopefully can play more than a couple games, you know, here moving forward. He's got some full practices under his belt, and ideally he's making his way to the 53-man roster for Thursday night. So, or Thursday at 1. Terrion Arnold is looking like he's, you know, finishing up his process and concussion protocol, and yeah, he's another guy. So you got DJ Reed, who is a starter who played limited snaps this past week. You got Amik, who did not play his best game, but maybe sliding more into the slot, and TA, who, you know, is coming back off his concussion protocol, who was starting to look better, you know, as he got injured. So just wanted these guys to stay healthy.
Yeah. So, you know, my one final capper is like, this was like a big pile of smelling salt. Like the Lions are waking up to the fact that like they cruised last year, and they got to take every game very, very seriously here. This is a big game, and this is going to be treated much like a playoff game. And I expect the Lions to come out and be physical. Run the ball. Run the ball to throw the ball, I think, is going to be the script.
Mm-hmm.
You have to account for Micah Parsons rushing the passer, and the best way to account for an elite pass rusher is to figure out ways to run the ball and make him accountable to stop the run.
And, that seems to be more of where he, I guess, doesn't excel. I mean, he is an amazing player, and I'm not going to downplay his abilities whatsoever. But, he's a pass rusher, and he gets after the quarterback and creates pressures. He can stop the run, but that's not where you would say, hey, Micah Parsons is the most amazing run stopper that we have on our team. No.
He's good, but he's not.
Right, so we're going to mitigate, as much of that excellence as we can, and we're going to try to put ourselves in the best position in order to gain yards and be consistent. And that's what the Lions need to do the most is find consistency in all three phases, including that offensive line.
So with that being said, what makes you nervous? And I think you might have kind of been leading into that a little bit.
Sure, I think that the Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, O-line, how is that matchup going to look? Are we going to have the schematics in order to answer those questions? Are we going to be able to trust a tight end to block, Micah, or are we going to have to double chip and so on? Typically, the biggest concerns that we've had was interior O-line, and I think that their strengths are more on the edges with our tackles, and I think that when it comes to our O-line, those are our strengths.
Yeah.
So I think that the matchup there is better than maybe even with the Giants. But our O-line still has got to come to play.
Yeah. So. Dan Campbell was really heating up towards the end of the game as a play caller. He almost put himself into a position where he had to call a perfect game to get himself out of the corner. You put baby in the corner, and the baby came out of the corner.
And we got to continue to remember, there's more on his plate now as a play caller than was before as just a game manager. And I think we're going to continue to talk about that. But we have to find the ability to still be able to call timeouts and manage, the time on the clock, as well as call plays. Because you saw some snafus there in that Giants game that you're like, scratch your head a little bit, like, hey, well, why are we spiking the ball and then calling a timeout right afterwards? Why are we leaving time on the clock? Why are we not running time off the clock? And so we have to find a good managerial piece. So if John Morton's not calling plays, he better be, calling down to Dan, like, hey, man, you got to call a timeout here.
Yeah, no doubt. Brian, what's your definition of a must-win game? Like, what is it? Must-win games could be like, if you don't win this game, season's over. Or is it like, this is a must-win game. If you don't win this game, like, it's really tough sledding? Or, like, where are you at in must-win games?
I would say that this game is as close to a must-win without being a must-win, right? I think that if we lose this game, that means that you do have to beat the Cowboys, the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings at their place, and the Bears at their place as well. I mean, you have to basically run the table for the final five if you don't win this. If you win this, I think that puts you in a great spot because that puts you ahead of the Packers. And, looking at what the Bears are going to do, they're going to play the Eagles, and that's a tough game. So that might even put you right there with a tiebreaker with the Bears.
I mean, they're 6.5 7-point dogs right now. The Bears are to the Eagles.
At
so
Philly.
Yeah. So, all right. Is this a must-win game? Maybe not. But is this an extremely important game? This is an extremely important game.
It is. And I mean, and let's be honest, you can't get swept by the Packers. Like, you can't get swept in 1 year by the Packers. You can't do it. You have to be able to at least split with those games.
So. The Lions have had the Packers number over the last couple, near-term years. Obviously, the Packers long-term have had the Lions number. So, path to the playoff for the Lions. Let's talk about it. 6 games left. Packers.
Yep.
Home game. Got to win that game.
Let's go.
Cowboys. I like that matchup. Home game.
I do too, but let's not take them for granted. They just beat the Eagles.
Yes,
So,
they did, but the Eagles had Honolulu Blue Fever.
Yeah,
Is that still a thing?
I don't think that's a thing.
Rams away. That's a tough game.
That's a tough game. I mean, you got Stafford playing at MVP levels right now. They're clicking on pretty much all cylinders. So we're just hoping that they're clicking right now, and you come week 17, they're clicking less.
Yeah. You spell worse than I do, but they got the Steelers on week 15 at home, and I don't think this is the same Steelers team that I think that I like that game. I think that game represents a what the Giants represented at home. That's a game that the Lions are going to win. And they get the Vikings away, which that should be, if JJ McCarthy doesn't spike the ball every down.
I just hope that he plays at this point, right? And
then they got the Bears, Brian, and if our wives, Lisa, if you are listening, and Stephanie, if you are listening, Brian and I were making plans to go down to Chicago. And if you are listening as podcasters and want to tailgate with Brian and I down in Chicago, we would love to break bread, even more so, crack beers, and tailgate with you and watch that game. But I think the season, that is going to be such a huge final game.
It's funny when those schedule makers did their thing, they marked that for a reason. I mean, they ain't dumb, so they're allowing that one to be flexible, and how that's going to come to fruition. Is that going to be a primetime Sunday night game, or is it going to mean nothing and they're going to push it off to 1 o'clock? So
yeah, so playoff picture right now, just briefly running through it. Right now the Rams 9-2, first place. Eagles 8-3, second place. Bears 8-3, third place. Buccaneers 6-5, division leaders, fourth place. Yep. Seahawks 8-3, fifth place. A lot of 8-3. There's going to be a lot of fluctuation here. Packers 7-3-1. They love their sisters. Sixth place, and 49ers 8-4, seventh place. The Lions 8th.
Outside looking in, that's what makes us a little bit tougher. Is that we got to take care of our business. But the reality is if we take care of our business, we have complete control of making those playoffs. Yeah.
So. Injury news for the Packers. Brian, do you want to give us a quick update on that?
Yeah, I mean, guys like Lucas Van Ness, who was a big part of their defense, did not practice today. Josh Jacobs, who did not play this past Sunday, has been limited in his practices the last couple of days.
He's playing.
And he'll play. Quay Walker, limited practice. He'll play. Zach Tom, limited practice. He'll play. And there's several others that have been on that limited participant as well. So
not quite the Bonnie Blue list, but they got a few guys on there that are noteworthy.
Sure.
Power rankings in if you look at Fox or ESPN or the NFL Network, Lions are still up there, Brian.
Still top 10. If you look at Fox, we're the 9th overall team. If you look at ESPN, we're up to 8, where they bounced the Bears down to 11. So we're right there. We're still one of the contending teams in the NFL. We just I'm going to tell you, man, we just got to put it together. Mm-hmm. We have to be consistent in all 3 phases. It's funny because you see the offense, blow up against Washington and score 44. You see the defense show out against Philadelphia. You see the special teams this last week play really a solid game against the Giants. Mm-hmm. But we have to do that all together in one of these games and just see what this team is all about. So
yeah, maybe it's time to discuss. Used to be my proudest moment on the podcast, but maybe I've been humbled a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but we're getting a little bit of OnePride Picks. How many times did Montgomery have a chance to punch it in?
He had that one time. He had one opportunity at the one, and they're like, all right, well, on to the next guy.
How many times David Montgomery at the one would you take to...
give him 4. Let's roll.
Boy, oh boy! So we're one Montgomery punching away from hitting a really nice parlay. Obviously didn't happen. So 4-2 on the year. This week we're looking at spread. Started off Lions -3, it's down to -2.5, and over unders right around 48.5. Easy to do that math. I'm I'm looking at the Lions money line right now at -140, and I'm saying I don't know about the points. This is going to be a drag out game. I do think the Lions cover, but I'm not willing to. I want a buffer here for some backdoor stuff. So I like the Lions money line, and I like Jahmyr Gibbs together, and you get a +152.
Okay.
And I feel really comfortable. I think the Lions are going to lean heavy on Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs has scored a touchdown every game but 2 games this year. And last year, that same trend continued. The Lions are going to lean on him, especially in that first half of the game.
Yeah. And I do feel like Jahmyr is going to continue to show that the monster that he is. I mean, the guy's a superhero right now. Yeah. So let him do superhero things.
All right. And if you want another one, if you can find the Eagles -6.5 over the Bears, I like to hammer that too.
Yeah.
So I just love that. So you keep passing the time, we'll keep cashing in. On the year, net money positive.
Yeah,
we'll keep rolling it out. Brian, tell me about Bill. And were you and Bill smoking a bunch of cigarettes together, or is his voice raspy and he's actually sick? Like your voice is raspy and you're actually sick.
It's Tuesday right now. We had our last day of school before the Thanksgiving break, and Bill didn't show up to work today. He had a runny nose. He's got a little.
But you showed up, and you're a raspy guy.
I got a little raspy too. We talked about this yesterday because he showed up yesterday. Okay. But I think it has more to do with the several beverages that he had on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon in Detroit, because he was present in that game on Sunday. And he talked about how, early in the game, the Boo Birds came out a little bit. And, when you saw some of those 3 and outs, it was there. The energy was not nearly as high as what he would have expected for a game like this. So you wonder a little bit of what's the fan base doing? Are they trusting in this team? And I mean, we're talking about it too. But he also talked about how he is seated front row on that roller coaster, and that game brought him all those ups and downs all the way through. And if had that game gone differently, you may have found him in the Detroit River. So,
oh boy, I mean, it's a long roller coastery season, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about that with the GPS analogy, man. Like it can be tough, and we were spoiled last year. Okay, we were spoiled last year, but let's not have short-term memories. As Lions fans, we've had a lot of roller coasters.
Sure.
And a lot more troughs than peaks over the years.
And right now, we have to enjoy it while it's here. We got to continue to appreciate the Lions' victories when they're around, and hopefully there's more to come. So,
all right. Let's kick it around the north.
Okay.
All right. So, Bears 8-3. They're going to play the Eagles. Spread is Eagles by 6.5, 7, depending on where you look. The Bears.
Yeah. They just keep winning, man.
Yeah.
Finding ways to win. And testament to them. Like, you probably, if you go back, you will know that I'm a Bears hater. And you will know that I didn't think that Ben Johnson was able to do what he's already done. But I'm going to continue my stance to believe that the Bears are a fraud, and this is going to catch up to them because the end of their schedule is very much tough. It's a gauntlet. There's a couple games in there that they may be able to squeak. I'm looking at one.
Mark this podcast here. So Brian is saying, the Bears got Eagles away, Packers away, Browns, Packers again at home, 49ers away, and the Lions. So what Brian is basically telling you is they're going to beat the Bears.
The Lions are going to beat the Bears.
The Bears are going to beat the Browns. I'm sorry.
The Bears are going to beat the Browns.
Yeah, the Bears are going to beat the Browns.
That's where I'm at. And that's no slouch. Browns have a great defense. And we'll see what they have with Shedeur Sanders.
So that means the Bears they're 8-3 right now. After the Eagles, they'll be 8-4. After the Packers, they'll be 8-5 in Brian's words. After the Browns, they'll be 9-5. After the Packers again, they'll be 9-6. After the 49ers, they'll be 9-7. And after the Lions, they'll be 9-8. kicking them out of the playoffs.
That would be what I would envision.
Okay, that's what Brian's on record.
Yeah.
The Vikings, do we have to talk about the
We don't have
Vikings
to talk about the Vikings anymore.
All right, and so we talked a lot about Packers right now, or throughout this whole episode. I believe that the cards are on the table here. The Packers have to face the Bears twice and the Lions once. Let's not put it in the Bears' hands. This just makes it a huge game, especially if you tell me that the Bears are going to lose twice to the Packers in future weeks. That tells me how important this game is.
That's exactly right.
And
grab your turkey, grab your stuffing, grab your mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Sit back and enjoy this game.
All right. I like it. Is there anything else that we need to talk about on this Tuesday night?
Well, we didn't talk terribly a lot about the Giants, but we touched base here and there. That game was a bit of a roller coaster, and we survived.
We did barely.
Barely.
There's a lot of motion, and for you, Biggie's Sports Bar or wherever you were, and at me, my house with my 7.5-year-old who you saw, was very emotional on the podcast. But the Lions found a way to pull it out, and they were the superior team. They just had a inferior start to that game.
And you look at again the inconsistencies, which I'm going to continue to go back on, and see that we have these huge huge runs. You got these amazing spots with Amon Ra and connections with Goff, and the ability to walk down the field, and then one little piece that might send them back, and then they can't overcome. So it's going to be something that you're going to look at here in the future and say, are we a resilient team? I feel like this game shows you that we are. Were we deserving of that game? That's the question mark. I mean, you look at the end of that game where the Giants had it at their 6-yard line going in the fourth quarter, could have kicked a field goal and really put some pressure on the Detroit Lions. Decided to go for it on fourth down and did not convert, which allowed us to walk down the field, like not convincingly, but walk down the field on the backs of Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon Ra, and then put all of our faith in a wonky kick by Jake Bates that squeaked through that upright.
I don't know how that happened.
Dude, it felt like the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial where everybody's like, hey, we want to stay for a little bit longer, so let's make sure that then we go on to overtime.
Yeah.
It was like, bring it in. So, it made it through. Thanks be to Jake Bates, and
big kick. Yeah.
On we go to overtime. And then another questionable decision is, would you have chosen the ball first, or would you have deferred to the Lions to take it and see what happens?
Yeah, that's interesting. And if you look at Malik Neighbors' tweet, which was now deleted, he talked a lot about like how it's like the Giants didn't want to win this game. He mentioned like throwing the ball on second down, not taking the field goal. I don't know if he mentioned like deferring in overtime, but it's easy to microanalyze. Like you can go out through a whole game and say like, why this and why that. But in my opinion, the Giants were just playing to win the game, and they have nothing to lose, and everything to gain by losing the game anyways, but they have nothing to lose. They have a coach that wants to be looked at for a potential head coach. So he's playing to win the game. He's playing to improve his record, and the win against the Lions, that turns heads on the road.
Yeah, I mean, and instead you're looking at a fifth or sixth come from behind like loss, or come from ahead loss, where you were leading by 10 points several times during this game, or a couple times during this game, and even into the fourth quarter, and still were able to throw that game away. So
yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Big game. I hope the turkey tastes great. I hope the Lions encourage that turkey to taste great. let's just briefly talk about, Brian, what's your 5-ingredient Thanksgiving plate? And then I want you to rank it in first to fifth. But, everything on the plate's good. But, like, what's your Thanksgiving plate, Brian?
You have to go with your, the staple. You have to have your turkey.
That's number one.
I don't know if that's number one.
Well, no, I asked you.
I'm gonna name the 5 on my plate.
Okay, you're gonna name the 5 on the plate.
And then I'll give you you come. I haven't time to prepare this. I'm just making this up as we go. All right. So the turkey's on the plate.
Turkey's on the plate. All right.
Mashed potatoes.
White meat or dark meat in the
dark
turkey?
Meat. Okay, dark meat.
Right.
Okay. Turkey's on the plate. Mashed potatoes and gravy on the plate.
Does that count as one ingredient?
It's one.
Okay.
That's just. They come together.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Stuffing.
All right, we're at 3.
On the plate. That's 3. I'm a Brussels sprouts. Like I love with like the balsamic vinegar drizzle and maybe a little bit of bacon. Like I love me some roasted Brussels sprouts.
Okay, that's 4.
That's on my plate as well.
Okay.
And you gotta go with
who makes that in the family? The Brussels sprouts.
My wife.
Your wife.
Lisa does an amazing job with.
It's a little untraditional. Like
it is.
Balsamic vinegar, like
it's just, but it's like I love green bean casserole, but it's down my list.
Okay,
right?
so you're at 4. What's the 5th?
Okay, crescent roll.
Crescent roll.
Yeah.
Roll. Okay, all right.
It's not just a roll. You're not getting the Hawaiian rolls and just put them on your plate. I want a baked crescent roll. My grandma used to make these. It was delicious, buttery and flaky and.
So she used to make them. Who makes them now?
Well, my grandma passed away.
Yeah.
Sorry, but now my mom and my sisters make those.
They've carried on the tradition.
Carried on the tradition.
So now rank them.
So okay, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go with turkey because it's my staple. Dark meat. It's gotta be number 1. Okay, we're gonna move into the Brussels sprouts for Lisa. Love you. Okay, number 2. Okay, crescent rolls number 3. Okay, stuffing. Now the stuffing is the it was coming right out of the bird kind of stuff. It's not the ones that you make from the box. Okay, it's the real stuff. It's the real thing. The dressing, if you will. That's number 4, and then the mashed potatoes and gravy.
Number 5. Okay.
Where are you at?
I feel like we can have a field day on that list in the comments. And please, hey, here's a good chance. Chime in.
Disagree? Tell me.
Chime in. So for me, I'll just rank them. I'll stack rank them a little bit. So I think for me, what I'm putting in the middle of my plate is I'm putting a big hunk of mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm putting that in the middle of the plate because I feed off of that with everything. If something's dry, I'm dipping in. That's number 1, Brian.
Wow.
That's number 1.
5. Okay.
That's number 1. And because I'm taking my turkey and I'm swiping a little bit of potato and gravy as I'm going into my mouth. I'm also a dark meat turkey guy, which, you don't have a soul if you're getting that white meat stuff. You got to
dry, you got to chew on it. It's like.
Yeah. But I'm not going to turkey yet. Controversial. Man, I'm having a struggle here between 2 things. I'm going to go green bean casserole number 2.
Okay.
I'm a big green bean casserole guy. You got to do it right. But green bean casserole. Stuffing number 3.
Okay. Like from the box
the
or
good stuff.
Dressing, right?
It's the good stuff. It's got to be the good stuff. Yep. It's got to have the giblets in the neck and all that fun stuff cooked in. The turkey 4. And I don't think you have a full plate unless you have a good scoop of homemade macaroni and cheese there on the 5th.
Okay.
Sorry, Brussels sprouts. I'm pretty sure y'all will agree with me. Lise, if you're watching this, make me some of that because I'm not a believer right now.
Okay, it's delicious.
All right, I'm not. I'm frankly right now. I'm like, hey, prove it to me.
You just want her to make him some Brussels sprouts.
Right? Yeah, make me some Brussels sprouts. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite plates. I'd love to see it. And the turkey, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, the macaroni and cheese, the green bean casserole, it all tastes better
with a Lions victory.
Come
on, let's go Lions. Here we go, baby.
Like, subscribe, follow, listen. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in with us. You've been passing time with us for almost 8 months now, and we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And here's to 8 more months and a lot of happy Thanksgivings.
Cheers.